What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Tiff with the T. For those of you who don't know me, welcome. Before we get into the topic, be sure to give me a thumbs up on this video. Comment down below so that you can get in on the conversation. Thanks to the internet, all be a part of it. Today, I have a special guest on my channel. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
So my name is Idris, and I have my own channel, which is not as cool as Tiff with the T, but it's still cool, I think.
It is
Called
very
Chi-Town
cool.
Lit on YouTube. If you like dope videos about electric skateboards and flying drones and video editing, definitely, or just cool things to do in Chicago, definitely follow me. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Chi-Town Lit. And if you want to get in touch with me, you could definitely get a hold of me on Instagram at If You Believe #1.
Thanks so much for joining us today, Idris. I'm excited to get into this with the whole Will Smith, Chris Rock thing. It has been trending all week. And my boy Idris, he has some thoughts about it, and I am very interested to know his take on it. I did a video earlier in the week where I feel like my video, I'm going to recant a little bit of what I said in that video, and that's just because after I really sat with it, I feel differently. After I really analyzed all sides of it, I just feel a little bit differently. For those of you who live under a rock, let's just run it back. Wait. Before we get started, did you watch this, or were you like me and you saw everything like after the next day?
I saw everything after the next day. I didn't want to watch the Oscars, but it wasn't until I got a text message from a friend of mine who said Will Smith just slapped the shit out of Chris Rock. Word for word, just like that. And I was like, what are you talking about? So then I typed it up on Google, and then there were a whole bunch of videos on YouTube about it. And then I started digging deeper, and then I actually watched the full clip. And then before you know it, I'm watching like majority of the Oscar ceremony, like what happened before. So just to recap, Chris Rock was giving Chris Rock was just being Chris Rock. He was cracking jokes on people in the audience. And when it came to Jada Pinkett, he cracked the joke that she was that was a little deep to her, that cut a little deep to her, right? Regarding the alopecia regarding her haircut. And I guess he didn't know that she had alopecia. And her response wasn't a positive one. Will Smith's response initially was all smiles and laughs.
Greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
So what happened next? E.T. has learned that Denzel Washington and Tyler Perry pulled Will aside for a private chat
until he saw his wife's expression, and then he went up on stage and slapped the hell out of Chris Rock.
Oh wow!
It's pretty messed up.
Right.
And then he went back to his chair and told Chris Rock to keep his wife's name out of his mouth with some expletives. And yeah, that's what happened.
And so I'll start with my initial reaction. When I first saw, I pretty much came about the clip just like you did. I didn't watch the Academies. I found it on YouTube and, just went down the rabbit hole just like everybody else. My initial reaction was he had the right to stand up for his wife. Even if he felt like it was funny, once he looked over and saw that she was insulted, he had the right to, stand up and do whatever he felt he needed to do in that moment to protect his wife. After I kind of got more information and I really sat with what went on, over the week, I've just been not feeling Will Smith. I completely disagree with what he did. I feel like I said it in the video before that I feel like when you're a comedian, you're going to joke about things that are going to offend people. It's part of your career choice. When I made my initial reaction, I didn't know that Chris Rock had insulted Jada at the 2016 Academy Awards. He made a comment. I'll go ahead and insert the clip.
Jada boycotting the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited.
So I didn't know about this. I thought that what I was seeing was just like surface level. Like I should just take it at face value. But with that added into the equation, I felt like, okay, so it seems like he kind of has a vendetta against Jada. Like he's intentionally calling her out at these award shows or picking on her, bullying her. And that made me, you know, side with Will. Like, okay, maybe they've had a conversation behind the scenes, maybe after that incident, and he said, hey, watch yourself. And then he still proceeded to, you know, diss her in front of him. Okay, cool.
Okay.
But then I was like, you know what? He's a comedian. That is his job. That is literally what they paid him to come to the Academy Awards to do. And on top of that, the joke was super mild. Like it was, okay, calling somebody G.I. Jane is super, first of all, that can be taken as a compliment because at the height of Demi Moore's career, being G.I. Jane and in that role, she was perceived by pretty much everyone in America as one of the sexiest women alive at that time. So that could have been taken as a compliment, but she chose to take it as a diss. Okay, obviously he didn't know that she had alopecia. Or maybe he did. I don't know. If he did know, it's still, it could be a compliment. So the reason that I changed my mind is basically because man to man, Will could have handled that completely differently. Okay, yeah, it's okay to be insulted, but the way you just walked up on another grown man and slapped him in his face on a worldwide stage in front of everybody to see, like, nah, that's super corny. What do you think, Idris?
You know what? I'm glad that you changed your opinion from from the beginning, right? And you know that's really interesting that you said that you know that his response was based off of the joke. How I saw it, I think it was a little more to it than that. I think that joke may have been something like the straw that broke the camel's back. You know, what I saw in Will that night was a man that was broken.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think he was taking on the frustration. I think he was taking on previous frustrations from what's going on in his marriage out on Chris Rock. You know,
Yeah.
I think that Chris Rock just happened to be at the right place at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in regarding to Will Smith just lashing out at him.
But let me ask you,
I don't think.
this is a question I've been seeing a lot of people ask. Do you think with all of that frustration that the things that are going on in his marriage that could cause him to act out in this way, do you think he would have taken that frustration out on the person on stage if he were a white man?
No, I don't think he would. I don't think he would have. You know, honestly, I'm disappointed in Will Smith. I really am. What I saw that day in that show was a bully. He purposely did what he did to Chris Rock because he knew that he could get away with it. He knew you know, how come he doesn't like everyone has said it. How come he didn't take this up with August Alsina? Why didn't he take up that frustration with August?
Okay, so my thing with that is we don't know what transpired behind the scenes. Just because it's not on social media, we don't know what transpired truly. We know the outcome. We know what things looked like when they were ready to tell us about it. But I feel like comparing that situation to this situation is kind of apples to oranges, just because he has said, like, Will and Jada have said they were separated at the time that happened. And he said recently that he knew about it. And even August Alsina, in the beginning, the reason why it was so buzzworthy was because he mentioned that Will Smith somehow co-signed on him messing around with his wife, and everybody was like in shock, and they were like, oh my God, they do have an open relationship. So that was never a secret, and it was never a secret that Will had his affairs as well. So I don't know. I understand that men automatically, they want to say, oh yeah, this man was dicking down your wife and you didn't even have the same energy. Okay, I get that. But if the construct of their marriage allowed for that, or they have an understanding within their marriage for the things that go on, you can't really compare that to this. Does that make sense?
So then if that is the construct of their marriage, then Will Smith should have this high tolerance. Then that means Will Smith has a high tolerance for bullshit, right? Because if he can tolerate, if we're saying that he can tolerate a man sleeping with his wife, why is he drawing the line at what another man says about his wife?
My wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Versus what a man is actually doing to his wife. You know, it doesn't make sense to me that's where he's gonna. I mean, if that makes sense to him, fine. But that's kind of interesting. Like, that's where we're gonna draw the line. Okay,
So,
you could bang my wife, but you can't talk about my wife. You
okay,
know?
so
And even
this is another piece. Like, I watched the Red Table Talk, right? So I remember in that interview, Jada said that for a long time she didn't feel good in the marriage. August Alsina was like part of her healing. Like, he was part of a stage in her life where she was growing. She was learning new things about herself. She was working through some shit. She merits him with being there through those times. And I feel like Will acknowledged in that interview that that's why he was okay with it, because they were separated. They were thinking about getting divorced at the time. And he saw this person as someone who could potentially help her through some shit, which ultimately ended up leading them back together. They didn't get a divorce. I don't know if it was because I'm not going to go as far as to say it's because at August Alsina they didn't break up, but it's like, when you really love someone,
sorry.
Listen, I'm
trying to picture that, like that's the reason why. I mean, I'm looking forward to the next table talk, Red Table Talk, where Will Smith and Jada Pinkett are saying, yeah, we're here because August Alsina, you know, he kept us together. I mean, you know, the love is better now more than ever, you know. Okay.
That will never happen. You and I both know that. But I'm just saying that there's a difference between loving your wife and not even just that wife title. Like, when you truly love somebody, whether you're with that person or not, you want the best for them. You want what's going to bring out the best in them. You want what's good for them at all times. And I can understand being in that place of like, we're not together, but I still want you to be happy. I want you to heal. I want you to grow and evolve. And whatever it takes for you to do that, I'm down. That's the feeling that I get when I hear them talk about how that whole thing transpired. It's like it was a rocky time in their lives, and they both needed that piece of the puzzle. I don't know what Will was doing, but they both were looking for an outlet. And I mean, as unconventional as it may be, that was one of their outlets, in my opinion. So for me, there's a stark contrast between that and someone hurting your wife, someone disrespecting her, or someone feeling like it's okay to, like I said, after I evaluated the situation, I really don't feel like it was disrespect. I feel like Jada took it as disrespect, and Will took it upon himself to do something about that, to show, I don't know, to display his true masculinity. I'm not sure what it was a display of. But I feel like the only reason he did what he did is because of the way she felt, obviously.
When he definitely responded. I think he was definitely triggered by Jade, his wife's response.
Yeah,
right.
That's obvious.
Even if that's the case, you still don't put your hands on another person.
Right.
I think in the whole equation, the person who I really respect out of all three, Jada, Will, Chris, is Chris Rock. Let Will put his hands on another man like that. I promise you, okay? Whether the person loses that fight, they're not going to take that L willingly,
right.
Humbly. Okay, they're not going to practice that level of restraint. I don't even think I could practice that kind of restraint if someone did that to me. Like, that's unacceptable.
Did you
and then another?
Did you see, like, immediately after it happened, how Chris Rock, like, how he moved over to the side and he, like, made this face, like, did you see that clip?
Are you saying, like, after everything happened, or are you saying
no, it was,
right
like,
when he was slapped?
Yeah, like, immediately after he announced who the winner of the next award was, they, like, handed off the award. I don't remember the person who won because nobody does. And then he, like,
he's like, whatever. Chris is still, like, in shock. Like, I don't know what's going on here.
Oh my God. Ascension and
he still looks very confused. Like, what?
It's not lost on me.
Wait for it.
The story of the Harlem Cultural Festival should
I don't know.
something that my beautiful mother.
So then Diddy comes out and he says something about it. Right there.
Okay, Will and Chris, we're gonna solve that like family at the gold party. Okay? But right now we're moving on.
He's just like, I don't care. I defended my girl. So
anyway.
Yeah, that's a good clip.
Yeah, it just really broke my heart when I saw that clip. Like, wow, this guy really is, like, dumbfounded right now, and he's keeping his composure like no other, because I know for a fact I would not have been able to stand there and take that slap. Like, he literally didn't even, like, do one of these. He didn't, like, try to come back for a second. Like, I would have got where I was and at least, like, okay, hold on. He didn't do none of that. He was just like, wow. He made a joke about it. He continued the show, and he carried on with such grace. So, yes, 100% kudos out to Chris Rock, because he handled that. Like, his level of professionalism is on 1,000.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the apology.
What apology?
What do you feel about the apology? Because at first, I didn't really understand what he was trying to do when he accepted the award and he, like, started apologizing to the Academy and was crying and all that. I didn't recognize that he didn't actually apologize to Chris Rock in that apology. He said, I apologize to the Academy. And it wasn't until almost 24 hours later that he issued that lame-ass social media response that his probably publicist forced him to write. But what do you think about that?
You know, it wasn't sincere. It wasn't genuine. I don't even think it counts as an apology. I think it was a statement being put out by a man who was trying to save face, a man who realized that, you know what, he may have just lost something here, okay, and something that could impact his career, something that could impact the trajectory of his career, and he was trying to bring it all back.
Right.
You know, he stopped short of apologizing for what he actually did. At some point, he was even trying to evoke religion and saying that God has put this on him to make a river or something. I'm like, I gotta protect everybody. I'm like, who is he protecting exactly?
Yeah.
And then he tried to connect it to the movie the documentary that he put together, the movie that he put together.
Richard Williams was a fierce defender of his family.
I don't remember King Richard slapping anyone in the face.
He
like
got
that.
beat down so many times in that movie. I watched it a couple weeks ago, and I was just shocked how much Venus and Serena's dad, like, he literally took it on the chin all the time.
Right.
Getting beat up by the teenagers in the hood for no.
Right.
It was really sad. Yes, I do agree that the apology was garbage. And according to Tony Rock, Chris Rock's little brother, they still have yet to hear from Will Smith personally. He has not picked up the phone to call Chris Rock or to reach out.
See, that's messed up. And even the apology that he put on social media. See, this is one thing I'll say that just shows that it wasn't a genuine apology. He didn't say sorry directly to Chris Rock. He said sorry to social media. It's like he was placating more to his fans, to his fan base than anyone else. And even the original apology, when he first posted it on social media, he took the comment section off.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, you couldn't comment, you couldn't write down anything. And I'm very certain that his his media group probably advised him that, hey, let's make it more sincere. Put that comment section back on. Like,
so he
I think he turned it on to like limited or something. It's back on though. Yeah, the comment section is back on, but originally the comment section was not there.
Because he didn't want to hear the negative.
Yeah.
He knew he was going to get a lot of blowback. Definitely.
Right. I'm back to the slap itself though. You're talking about, I mean, for me, I'm going to put it in some context that I understand. We're talking about an award ceremony that for the past couple of years, him and his wife have been complaining that there's not enough diversity, not enough Black people are getting awards, not enough Black people are attending this award ceremony. And, here's an opportunity to just hit this ball out the park. You show up to this award ceremony, you get the first award that you've ever had in 30 years. I think this is his first time actually receiving an Oscar in his 30-year career. And everyone, he was in a pivotal moment for everybody to be happy for him. He's a Black man, he's doing well, he's making waves, he's successful. This is the icing on the cake of his career. Everybody in that room was supposed to be for him.
Yeah.
Even Chris Rock was for him, because if you back up before the slap, he was giving compliments to Will Smith. He's like this, he was saying nothing but praise about him, and then he makes this bad joke, and suddenly he deserves to be slapped in the face. I mean, even if we disagree with the joke, it doesn't equate to being slapped in the face. It doesn't equate to assault.
Right.
Because that's what we saw. We watched a man get assaulted by another man.
Mm-hmm. And a Black man assault another Black man at that. That's the tragedy for me. Because it's like, if you're complaining that there's not enough representation, and then the representation that we do see, you completely throw it in the mud, like, that you're what so many Black Americans look up to as Black excellence. So we're expecting you to represent us on the world stage in the way we're supposed to be represented. Black people in America, we're always fighting every stereotype in the book. We are violent, we're hostile, we're lazy, we're never able to, compose ourselves, we're angry, like just all kinds of stereotypes. And then you go up there and you represent every single one of those stereotypes. And nobody cares anymore about those 30 years of wonderful works that you have under your belt. All they can remember is this one moment in time where you completely disgraced an entire group of people. Like, the culture, not even just Black culture, I'm talking about American culture. This is just another sign of the times that we live in. This would never have happened in 1995 when Leonardo DiCaprio and what's her name were on the Academy Award stage for the Titanic. This could have never happened during those times. And if they had, it would have set us back so far. You know, talk about 2022 and we barely have diversity. Just imagine if that would have happened back then in the 90s. Right. You know? Right. And we're so sensitive to everything. Okay, you were offended by a joke. You were offended. Okay, we get that. Sometimes it happens. It's part of life. Does that give you the right to go and assault a man? Absolutely. No.
There's something about the Oscar awards that's, you know, to me, operating at that level of someone's career, there's supposed to be like a level of prestige. You know, there's a level of respect. There's a level of class, you know, that it's invoked by people in that realm, in that room. And I was just so disappointed to see that kind of behavior, because it felt like that kind of behavior kind of brought the Oscars down a peg. Like, this is not a prestigious award. You know, anybody, you know, that whole anybody can get it mentality can be in this space, you know, and that's not cool. That wasn't cool. That's so, like, disrespectful. It was disrespectful to Chris Rock. It was disrespectful to the Academy. It was disrespectful to his craft. I mean, everyone, including myself, see him as a professional, you know, and to operate at that level, there's an expectation to not be so thin-skinned, you know. I was really disappointed. There's just an expectation to maintain some kind of composure and decorum, you know, in that situation. So the guy cracked a joke about his wife being bald-headed. In fact, if we really look at that, if we dig deeper on that joke, it was kind of a compliment, because he's equating, what was he doing? He's equating Jada Pinkett with this character who was a heroine, who was courageous, who showed valor, okay? Despite who overcame the odds to be something great. You know, like, that could have been another interpretation there. Mm-hmm. And yet they didn't see it like that. And even if they didn't see it like that, it did not warrant him going up there and slapping another man. Like, that's just, Will Smith should be in jail right now. Yeah. Like, seriously. And let me chip in a little bit more information here. Outside of that circle of Hollywood, people, men, Black men, die over that, get killed over that kind of behavior, spend the rest of their lives in jail over that kind of behavior. Like, how many, I can tell you countless stories of Black men who put their hands on someone that they shouldn't have, and the repercussions was more violence, escalation into gun violence, escalation into murders, homicides. You know, I live in Chicago. People die over this crap every day. And here we are watching it unfold in such a prestigious circle, you know? Like, I was really disappointed in Will Smith. Like, he's got to do better. Like, at that age, how old is he? Like 50, 52?
Yeah. I think he's 52, 53.
And he's throwing a tantrum like someone in high school or someone in grade school. I mean, I know people who are 11 years old who are more thick-skinned than that. Like, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
That was really disappointing. What does it say about us as a culture? You know, no one wants to say this, but non-Black people are watching all of this. Right? And they're coming to their own conclusions. You know, it's a shame that there are people who think like this, but there are people who will say, "Oh, you can't bring Black people anywhere."
Right.
There's no amount of success and wealth and prosperity that a Black person can experience that they're not going to get out of pocket.
The comedian Tom Segura, he made a disparaging comment about Jada, saying that she's obviously bald. If she was that sensitive, why doesn't the B word get a effing wig? I felt like in the moment, I felt like that was super disrespectful because, I mean, you don't have to call the lady the B word. You don't know her, and
Right.
she's not the one who got up and slapped dude at the end of the day. That was Will who did that. But the root of his message really was the truth. Like, if she was super insecure about it, why is she rocking a bald head? Like, it's the most fashionable thing right now. Why doesn't she wear a wig? So I feel like if you are wearing something what is perceived to be proudly, like, because I know people who lose their hair from other medical conditions, and a lot of times they're really insecure and they'll cover it up.
If she's really uncomfortable with it, why did she put it on display for everyone to see that she's bald, that she's going bald, right? And I don't know, it's a question as to was she really that offended? Mm-hmm. I don't think so. I don't think she was that offended. I think she was just making an expression that she didn't really approve of it, and I think Will Smith jumped on it. Mm-hmm. I think Will Smith just took it as an opportunity to vent his own frustration.
Right.
On another level, I think he wants to slap Jada. I think he wants to slap his wife, and he couldn't do that, at least at that moment. So, because his wife has been disrespecting him like every chance she gets. Like, I get it, having an open marriage, okay? What goes on, the details of their marriage is their business, but taking it the next step further and just putting it out for everybody to see, everybody to hear about it. And why are we talking about it? Because she put it out there.
Has always been super private. Like, up until this point, up until about 2 years ago, all we could do was speculate about the relationship because they were very, mum. And now it's like everything is out there, and it's because Jada has this talk show now, and she's just blabbing to the world about everything that goes on, and he's got to deal with that. And I don't know if he recognizes that a lot of his frustration may be coming from her. I mean, I feel like if she's talking about their marriage in such an open way, he would have to approve of it on some level, but he kind of strikes me as the type of person who goes with the flow. Like, he doesn't really try to restrict someone for what they're doing until it's too much for him to handle. And then at that point, you see stuff like this.
He doesn't look like a man who has peace in his family, in his household right now. Mm-hmm. He looks like a man who is frustrated. He looks like a man who is not in the space, who is not given the space to be a man in the most traditional of ways, in the most traditional of spaces. And what I mean is that this guy clearly, from what happened that night, this guy's clearly not getting any respect at home.
One of the biggest stars in Hollywood, squeaky clean image, women love you around the world, and this is what's going on in your house. Your wife is in love with a dead man. Dear Tupac, I know you are alive someplace. I think my mommy really misses you. Can you please come back? Can you come back so me and my mommy can be happy? I wish you were here. I really do. Tupac got killed in 95, 96? Willow never met Tupac. Why is this little girl writing a letter to Tupac? Why is Will Smith's daughter writing a letter to Tupac? What is being said in that house to get this little girl not writing Santa Claus, not writing the Easter Bunny, writing Tupac?
He doesn't respect himself. His wife doesn't respect him. Okay, especially in the way she talks about the details of their marriage. I mean, there was a time when all these things that have unfolded, it was just hearsay. It was just rumor. Oh, I heard that I heard that their marriage is an open marriage. Oh, I heard that they swing, that they go to swing parties and all this stuff. And then And Will, for the longest time, has kept that close. You know, he didn't reveal that to anyone. And then next thing you know, a musician is talking about he really loved this person's wife, you know? And then she's turning around and say, yeah, I love him too. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but all of that opened the door, opened their marriage to criticism, right? You got all kinds of people talking about their marriage, you know, and it's reduced their relationship, and even I would say it's reduced Will Smith to a joke.
Yeah.
Like I can't take someone like that seriously. So I'm sure other people feel the same way, that, you know, you can't take someone like that seriously. You can't take someone whose all behavior, his interaction with people is based on emotion.
Right.
Okay. This is a person who, you know what? If anything, he gives me hope. Okay. Because if someone as weak, thin-skinned as him can be a millionaire, then there's hope in anyone can be a millionaire. You know, I mean, anything is possible. I mean, maybe that's the way to look at this. You know, someone so thin.
That he built a life for himself.
Yeah.
A certain kind of life for himself. And I feel like his wife is kind of burning it down slowly.
Yeah.
Who knows what he had to do to get into the position that he's in, to where he's winning the Oscar, you know? His whole life has been dedicated to his career, and to building some kind of life for his family. And his wife is just nonchalantly just running his name through the mud. He's been a respectable person, black person in Hollywood for so long, and she's just, I don't know, tarnishing his name, tarnishing their reputation. I don't know if it's because she's going through a midlife crisis or what the case may be, but I'm definitely interested to see how this plays out on the Red Table Talk, because they are going to bring this topic to the Red Table Talk.
They got to, for the views, you know, all of that.
Yeah, I think I would really love, like, the perfect situation would be if they were able to sit down with Chris Rock so that we could see both sides of the story. I don't think they're going to pull that one off. I don't think they care to do that to showcase his side of the story. But I'm interested to see what they're going to say.
I'm a little drained by the whole thing.
I know.
You
Everybody in the world is talking about this.
You know, honestly, I don't know how we got here as a society that we're so entertained by dysfunction. You know, I think for me,
that's really sad, isn't it? That's really sad. This is such a distraction. Like, my husband put me to shame yesterday. We were both talking about the situation. He was like, you know what? We haven't even talked about the war in the past few days. Like, we haven't been talking about the real stuff that's been going on because we're just so wrapped up in this drama that has really nothing to do with us, no effect on our lives, but the whole world is just so fixated on it. Like, it's sad.
Right. I know there was a question at one point, was all of this scripted? Was all of this, like, is it fake? What do you think?
I don't think that it was scripted at all.
What do you think could have been done to avoid this whole thing?
I think the obvious way to handle it would have been to wait until he got off stage, till he had a moment with him, you know, to talk to him one-on-one. End it right there.
This was a great talk. Let's do this again.
Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.